I'm here to obviously ask really hard-hitting questions. So I'm going to start by asking, because I'm asking everyone this today, who has the nicer moustache in this, Aidan Turner or Danny Dyer? Because I am going to give the results.
You're going to say me as well.
Yeah.
Aidan or Danny? That's like Daddy or Chips, isn't
it?
I
think it's got to be Aidan, because Aidan's was... Oh, no, they were both real. They were both real tashes. I keep thinking they were stick-on ones.
Was Danny's real?
Yeah, he grew it for the show.
I think it is a tough question.
It's tough, isn't it?
And it's a personal question. And I would hate for either of them to feel that they were lacking.
I know, me too. Aidan.
Yeah.
She doesn't care.
Yeah, good, because I'm interviewing Danny next, and I really want to tell him that everyone said Aidan.
Danny.
This is a really good, fun show. I'm loving what I've seen so far. I've done 3 episodes so far. But just wondering about, in regards to the kind of source material, because obviously it's based on a really popular novel, and Jilly Cooper is such a sort of famous novelist as well. Were you familiar with this book at all? When you sign up to a project that is an adaptation, do you have a kind of process? Do you like to read the novel, or do you sometimes like to just treat it by the script?
Well, I did refresh my memory and read the book again, but then I sort of had to stop reading it, because then I received the script, and then I thought, I don't want to get too locked into how the book is, because if there's some changes in the script, I don't want, So yeah, I kind of did that, but I refreshed my memory with it a bit just to, get the vibe.
Yeah, and I think so. It depends. Some projects, I would read the source material, but I knew that Jilly was on board at our leader. She's an exec producer, and so I knew it would be authentic to the novel. So I just read the script. I'd read the book years ago in my teens, but no, the script spoke for itself beautifully, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Was Jilly on set at all? Did you guys get to meet her?
Yeah, God, yeah. She's a part of the crew now, really. She was there a lot, but she definitely didn't stifle anyone or anything like that, and kind of, she wasn't controlling anything. She was very happy with the choices that we'd made with the characters, and she was just really complimentary and lovely and funny and twinkly.
She was very, she's very powerful and important in the creative team, but as well, I think she felt very held and supported by the creative team. So when she came on set, it was not in the capacity of checking everything's going as it should be and a sort of beady eye. It was just, she was a delightful addition to the day. She's mischievous and twinkly and naughty, and it really gave us all that shot of Jilly.
Yes, a Jilly shot.
Those days that she was in, yeah.
Yeah, well, all of that kind of personality comes out in the show of her. But, I mean, it's incredibly binge-worthy. It's one of those shows where you finish a kind of episode and you just instantly want to press play on the kind of next one. Was it like reading the scripts? Did you have that kind of similar experience? And were you given them all in kind of one block? And was you almost binging scripts in the same way we would binge TV?
Well, I remember getting the audition scenes, and even just from that, I was like, oh my God, I really want to read more. But they were very, very hush-hush about it in the beginning. And I remember doing the audition tape and then just being desperate to read on. So then I got the part, luckily. And then I read the scripts, and it's all about the script. I mean, Dominic Treadwell-Collins, Laura Wade, and the team behind it, they took so much care over it. And it's a brilliant script.
I can't remember how the scripts came through. I don't think we had them all up front. No. But, and to be honest, sometimes when you haven't got all the scripts, there is some trepidation and, nervousness about whether you'll be served personally or your character will be served. But I think it is fair to say on this that that didn't factor at all. We found very early on that we were part of an ensemble, that everyone had wonderful storylines and everyone was delighted to be there. So I think the scripts did come in instalments, but without they were just received with enthusiasm and pleasure, weren't they?
Yeah, completely. Every character kind of gets their moment, which is nice. It's not solely just about one individual. It's kind of, as it goes on, everyone kind of gets a moment like that. It's got that Succession sort of feel to it.
But binge it or savour it, whatever floats your boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you guys consume content? Because
I'm a binger.
You're a binger.
Yeah, I'm a binger. Yeah. I've just had a baby. Well, I was pregnant for 9 months and I've just had a baby. I'm a binger.
Yeah. I feel I've got less time to sort of binge. I ideally would, but I do enjoy savouring like a good hour.
Yeah, I get sad when it's over. I'm like, I miss those characters. I miss those. Yeah.
You mentioned the kind of strength of the ensemble. What's quite rare with this is not only is it an ensemble film, but a show, but it feels like everyone's kind of often in scenes together. Because sometimes you get ensemble pieces where everyone's got their own storylines in different parts of different locations. What were the days like on set when kind of everyone was there for one kind of big shoot? They must have been such good fun.
Yeah, well, that's why we were so lucky, because our first scene was all together at a dinner party scene, and it was just, from the first action, it was just amazing. I've never ever felt like that on a set before. We just bonded so quickly.
And actors are quite, delicate creatures, and they're quite vulnerable. And often when you are suddenly put in a scene with a lot of people, it can be intimidating, and you can worry whether you can hold your own. But it was very clear from the off that this was a supportive team of brilliant actors working with brilliant material. So like Emily says, the pleasure of it was just being able to relax and enjoy watching people be hilarious and
bouncing off each other as well. It was just, we were able to, there's some improvising in there, which is nice, and that's good. It's so nice having a director that's not overly precious about that stuff, so it was a very luxurious ensemble.
I think you mentioned the word Succession, and I think it's similar because it's interesting because the likes of Succession, and then also even like Game of Thrones to a degree, and Rivals, and kind of Bridgerton. These shows are completely different to one another, set in completely different worlds and time periods. But power is always such a huge part of each individual kind of show, and it's a big part of Rivals as well. What do you think it is about power that creates such kind of compelling stories?
I mean, I love that because there are a lot of other adjectives that people might use for something like Rivals more immediately, bonkbuster, sex. But I think power is such a important part of this show,
and there are positives and negatives to the power.
But it is as high end a production as all those ones you listed, and I think it is just particularly in the 80s in this world. These charismatic, powerful men like Tony Baddingham, and women who feel that they have to match that power, by however means they can. It makes for high drama to watch. And then the beauty of this series is they look beyond that. And they look at the vulnerability. They look at Tony at home with his wife, where he can let his guard down a bit. They look at the ball breaker, who actually, it turns out, it isn't. Has her own more girlish vulnerability. So it's a very nuanced look at, as you say, these very attractive, powerful people.
And obviously because it's set in the kind of industry, they are obviously, obviously it's a satire and it's overstated, but obviously it's drawing from the kind of real world. I mean, have you ever met a kind of like a Tony Baddingham before? Are they still out there?
Oh God, I mean, that's the thing. You watch something like Rivals, and I hope people take away from it thinking, have we moved on in not just the TV world but the world in general, especially in male-dominated spaces? Are women still being treated a certain way? Do men still feel that they have that power and control? Kind of going away from the lightness of it, the darkness of it, it kind of, it does show that power in a more negative light. You would like to hope that time has moved on, and that, people are nicer and, kinder, and men are being held accountable for their actions and all of that. But I think it looks at that really sensitively, and it doesn't celebrate that behaviour at all. It kind of looks at it, importantly, and
just very funny because obviously we sort of mentioned the word, it is quite sort of overstated and kind of caricature at certain points, but it always stays quite realistic. But I'm interested to know, Claire, because obviously if you've made something like sort of Ali and Ava, which I absolutely adored, and when you make something like that, which is so kitchen sink realism, and something like Rivals, which has got a bit more of a playful edge to it, does your approach as an actor change at all, or is it very much the same? Is your process still very much the same, and it's not dictated by the kind of tone of what you're stepping into?
Yeah, my process is the same. I mean, with Ali and Ava, this was a modern day drama set in Bradford, and I used very much the work that the costume department did and the art, the production design to let the surroundings of her and what she wore really fire my imagination. And it was much the same in Rivals, a polar opposite character, but we had all this wonderful stuff at our fingertips, authentic 80s fashion and hair and set design. That's really how I work. So I might, run my hand over a marble fireplace for Monica, but equally for Ali and Ava, run my hand over a hole in the wall that her son had made through throwing a mug at it in anger. So my approach is the same. But I was more nervous playing Monica and upper class because I've never done that before. But I was very well supported.
You did a wonderful job. Thank you so much for speaking to me.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!